Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for your patience. And today is a very special day for me in particular, and for all of us, because we have an extremely unique speaker. Unlike some of the other speakers we've had and we will be having in the future, we have someone who is going to talk about his own experiences and the work that he is doing in order to address the issue of the vulnerable earth. So the program that we have is vulnerability studies, and we've had a look at literature, what is vulnerability, vulnerability in Shakespeare, and many such things. Today we have with us a food scientist turned farmer. And this is a person who I've had the pleasure of having met 25 years ago. And he told me that, we will reach a stage when we will have all the money in the world, but we will not have food available for purchasing. So it's important for us to befriend a farmer. So I took his advice seriously and I befriended him. And I've had the pleasure and privilege of knowing his family, his father, who was a freedom fighter, Shekhar Bhadsavle, and now his son, Chandan Bhadsavle, who handles the farm at Neral or Saguna Bagh, where I have been with for the last 4 years, along with groups of students. The reason why we keep going back is because there is something that is happening in this little microcosm of about 60 acres of land, where it has literally, I have seen it grow from a space of agro-tourism activities to a kind of an earthquake zone where there are earthquakes happening in a very positive way. There is activity, research, and implementation of the various techniques in order to bring in sustainable techniques in agriculture and everything else involved with bringing about sustainable environmental techniques. It is my privilege to introduce Shekhar Bhadsavle, best known to everyone as Dada. As I mentioned, he's a food scientist turned farmer. He has pioneered the Saguna rice technique, a zero tillage method, enhancing soil health and reducing costs of cultivation. Through the Saguna Rural Foundation, he has made efforts to advance sustainable agriculture and rural empowerment. The focus of the farm activities is to restore dignity to farmers. And Shekhar Bhadsavle has worked along with his family in this area and has been the recipient of the Farmer of the Year award, I think, for 2 years in a row, several years ago. More recently, he's been the recipient of Maharashtra government's Krishi Ratna and Krishi Bhushan awards for excellence in agriculture. He is slated to receive an award in the month of November from a university in the USA, and we are looking forward to him winning a Nobel Prize in the future. And that is his dream. And we wish you all good luck, sir, in this area. Honestly, we look forward to your session because your session is literally something that is going to be sharing your own experiences and the techniques that you have developed to give farmers, to restore dignity to farmers and to bring in ways in which one can protect the environment. It is indeed our privilege to have you here with us, sir. And without much ado, I hand over to you for your session on the vulnerabilities of the One Earth and the techniques that you have brought about to bring about sustainable agricultural practices. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much. It's been such a wonderful introduction. Lots of things about myself, hearing for the first time at one go. I was thrilled and stunned to hear all that story. Thank you so much. Somebody who has been coming here and known my father is very rare thing now, very rare. So you are one of them, that you have met my father, mother, and now you have seen my grandchild. So this is wonderful. Thank you so much, Professor Michel. And I start with the subject today. Thank you for this this invitation to interact with your guests. Uh, just hold on the slides for just a few seconds. It would be nice, this is really wonderful subject which you have put forth, the vulnerability of Earth. And I thought that I will talk about vulnerability of one Earth, which is one of the very important issue in today's context. Fortunately, the Almighty has provided our team's efforts success by handing over 4 techniques, and those 4 techniques are available for everyone to build her own future, to build their surrounding, and of course to make our one Earth a sustainable place for future generations to live and continue happily on this planet. I have heard this word vulnerability, but when you asked me to speak about it, I went through the meaning of it, and I found out that vulnerable is defined in 2 different ways: open to attack or damage. That is one definition. Second is capable of being physically or emotionally wounded. Both these definitions perfectly apply, and they make, when I read these definitions, that quickly put a lot of light in my brain, that exactly the same thing that I'm trying to work with for last 45 years. I was born here on this farm and raised for several years. Then I went to America for a short gap of 6 years, and I came back from America in 1976. So since then, I have been working towards the objective laid down by my freedom fighter father. My father said, I have to work on the land and come up with such methodology, come with such a lifestyle, which can attract, which can give motivation to the farmers in the surrounding area, and they should find a viable, replicable technique to improve their livelihood. So this was his ideology, and I started working for it since 1976. So since 1976, when I was 25, I got married to Anuradha, who is a cancer immunologist, in 1997, that year after. And since then, together, we are working towards this objective. Rural India is a bigger mass, bigger number of people. It's real India, and there are lots of problems, especially emotionally wounded is a very typical thing that I've observed. Those who produce food for all of us, they produce food for all of us, and we use that food, and then we can do whatever, like some people can become lawyers, some engineers, doctors, professors, and so on, politicians. And because somebody else is taking care of production of food, and very small portion of our monthly income we spend on that food, which goes to the farmer, and we can perform our duties or the job of our choice happily. But when that is happening, the one who is producing food, the farmer, he is emotionally wounded to such an extent. He is so vulnerable that he is taking the last step of committing suicide. How many thousands of them? And that is tremendous. That's a terrible vulnerability. And I'm sure it will cause a big problem for all of us who in the city who are dependent on him and her, the farmer, to produce food for us. So actually, we in the cities are at a vulnerable stage, and we must do something about it. At Saguna Bagh, our team, while working towards these objectives, towards this feeling to solve our emotional problems, we found out some ways. And those ways I'm going to be sharing with you today. It's a work of almost 45 years. And we have found out these 4 technologies, which I will be showing you today through photographs. I will not be able to show tables and research papers, but we've got some really convincing pictures. And I'm sure our audience will like it. In fact, by taking, this opportunity is a wonderful opportunity. So thank you, Professor Philip, again and again. Through this opportunity, I would like to also convey this message to the audience that this work is the need of the hour for the whole world, the whole global security. So our security is something very important, for which whatever work we have put in and whatever our findings are, there can be many postgraduates and PhDs who can start working on this, because time has already come, which is at a very difficult stage. I recently heard that global warming is over. I don't know how many of you have heard that, but global warming is finished. But you know what? Global boiling is started. So global boiling is a terrible situation we need to address and need to work with the techniques which we have found out. Research work needs to be done. PhDs should come forward and do research in each one of those techniques. And those techniques I'm going to be talking about, I will explain you. But before that, let me tell you, there have been very important thinkers who said that if we want to solve a complex problem, the kind that one we have today for our whole global situation, this complex problem can be solved by choosing a different path. We cannot go on the same path which created those problems in the first place. So this was a saying by Albert Einstein. And then there is a big group that is formed, which is at a global stage, that is COP, Conference of Parties. And they have come up with 17 Sustainable Development Goals. Our techniques are addressing positively 7 of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. So we will have to, I will be showing and talking. I don't know how much time we get, but we can start sharing the slides now. And I will be talking today about ART, that is Agro-Rural Tourism. Second will be SRT, Saguna Regenerative Technique. Third will be SVT, Saguna Vanasamvardhan Technique. And the last is SJT, that is Saguna Jalasamvardhan Technique. And all these 4 techniques I will try to explain, try to align them in one linear flow. And we will have, at the end of each one of the technique, we can have question and answer session which where you can ask me questions and I will answer all your questions. So this is a typical picture. This picture must have been taken at the time of Professor Michel Phillips' initial visits. You know, this is when I used to go to the railway station to get the guests to our in our Tata 407 and take them around, show them various things. Now, this is a typical picture of agro-rural tourism. Agro-rural tourism we have defined as an activity organized by farmer himself, where leisure learning and fun is combined together. So there is active farmer, there is leisure learning, there is fun combined together. And the most important advantage of this activity to the farmer is that farmer becomes professor and professors become student. So this is where the farmer gets dignity while sharing his self-earned experience. So this is something very important, and farmer gets a lot of friends when the friends come. And here, for example, I'm explaining all those guests how to convert, what is the process of conversion of solar energy into gold. So, for example, here there is banana, coconut, and the paddy. So here we get, let's say, in a year I get 1 lakh rupees. I use 30,000 rupees to spend for the next crop. Remaining 70,000 rupees I would like to invest. And typically a farmer family will invest it into gold. So this solar energy converting into gold is something very important. And this is the positive side of vulnerability, which is security, food security. And then I will be also telling you the climate change aspect, where carbon sequestration is also affected, is performed effectively. Next slide, please. Yeah, so this is a typical picture of, this is another typical picture of agro-tourism. And this is a family from Norway. They had come where they wanted to see the farm. And when I was showing, I entered into a field, and they say that the person asked me, what is this field? So I thought that it was a good opportunity for me to give that person a practical experience. So I asked him to come down and uproot this plant. And you know already what plant is this. So he thought that I was checking his physical capacity. So he applied a lot of pressure, which caused him topple down upside down. And I was scared. I thought that he must have got hurt. But at the end of it, I saw that he was so happy that there were tears of happiness in his eyes. He said he has been eating all his life this thing, of course, groundnut, peanut, but never known where it comes from. So these are the experiences that farmers can give through their hard-earned experience. And this exchange of knowledge, exchange of information gives farmer a dignity, which is a step towards security and going away from the vulnerability. So we have to stop vulnerability in food production. Next slide, please. So agro-tourism, as I told you, is one aspect. Our second technique is Saguna regenerative technique. We have defined SRT, Saguna regenerative technique, as a conservation and regenerative agriculture, zero-till method of farming, which does not cause atrocity of tillage, completely stops soil erosion, promotes natural production of earthworms, increases organic carbon of the soil, considerably increases productivity of the land, and added effect of amazing happiness and confidence to the farmer. Now, those who know a little bit of agriculture and agricultural sciences, uh, most probably you will not believe this definition. Those who are agricultural scientific community, many of them, they say, they take doubt. They say that it's not possible to combine all these things together, and especially the happiness of the farmer and the confidence of the farmer. But this is all, this definition has come from the real experience. Thousands and thousands of farmers are saying, we got earthworms in our fields, whether it is paddy field, which was unique for the first time in the world that we could show earthworms in the paddy field. The soil erosion, which is almost 20%, that is 20 tons per hectare of land, 20 tons of soil gets washed away each year. All that can be stopped. A tremendous security, tremendous secure feeling, and going away from vulnerability. So this technique, SRT, this is how we have defined it. Next slide, please. As I told you, this is one of the effect. In this collage, the left-hand side picture is a typical farmer using his traditional method, where he is worried. His worries never cease, and he is reaching the ultimate stage of vulnerability. He's in thousands and thousands, the majority percentage of them are in shambles. They are emotionally hurt. They're emotionally wounded. That's the right word, emotionally wounded. Whereas as soon as the SRT is accepted by this group of farmers, they all have become happy. Not a single person in a family remains unhappy when they accept SRT, Saguna region. This is one of the effects. Next slide. So this is our next technique, which I'm going to be explaining you, Saguna Vana Samvardhan technique. Saguna Vana Samvardhan technique is pioneered by the SVT team at Saguna Bagh, near Raigad district. So it's a simple, effective technique to stop forest fires and to produce green perennial vegetation, prevent forest fires, and thus restoring the natural vegetation, ultimately enhancing the water infiltration and aquifers recharging capabilities in the basic tenet on which the SVT project is built upon. So SVT is something which can stop, mainly it can stop forest fires, and forest fires without human intervention. That's something wonderful. Again, for the first time in the world, we have been able to do it. I will be showing you pictures and slides and explaining you the technique little later. The next slide, please. So this is the picture of the resultant of our SVT of after 6 years treatment to this particular hill. Now this line between the black and brown, this line, this crest of the hill is 2 kilometers long. It's 2 kilometers long. On one side, I'm talking about the left picture of the collage. The right side of the crest is black because it is burnt, and left side is brown. It's golden brown. That's because that is not burnt. So last 6 years, same pattern has happened, and we have proved that fire cannot cross this Lakshman Rekha, which we create through SVT technique. And because of which, the right side of the collage, you can see the area which does not get burnt is all now fully covered with thick forest, and we have not planted it. It is all natural. But at the same time, we have also planted almost 80,000 plants there, not considering the perennial grass that we have planted, that is in lakhs number. So, and there the survival is almost 85-90% survival is there. Just recently, this trip of Wilson College postgraduate students had come to visit. They visited this hill, And so this is one of the most important impact that SVT is able to do. So again, going away from vulnerability of forest to positivity, that is security of the forest. Next. So Saguna Jala Samvardhan technique is a fourth technique which our team has come up with, which has been able to stop the vulnerability of the water bodies. And water, of course, is a very important aspect of our life. And we know we are already facing serious problems in all our water bodies all over India. So what is SJT? Saguna Jala Samvardhan technique, SJT, involves the usage of general purpose systemic herbicide on the targeted weed such as water hyacinth and water lettuce for cleansing the weeds out of water body, following which the removal of the dead weed is done. The polluted portion of the water is then treated with the help of useful microbes, appropriate combination of fish species, and economically beneficial plants such as lotus to manage the soluble pollutants in the water body, ensure optimum oxygen in the water body, and maintain the natural beauty of the water body. So this is SJT, Saguna Jala Samvardhan technique. So next slide. And this is one of the impactful picture which I can show you. This is Ulhas River, which flows through Pune, Raigad, Nashik, and Thane district. So these are the 4 districts this flows, and this river supplies water for 50 lakh people for their drinking purpose and all other uses. But this river was completely covered almost in its 60-kilometer area like this, completely covered with this floating weed. And this is a killer weed. This weed is called killer weed. This water hyacinth and pistia, they destroy, they kill the water body. So they had almost killed Ulhas River, which after cleaning, the river looked like this. So these are the 4 techniques. Next slide. So this is the picture. This collage is another very beautiful picture which I like to see myself, and each time I see it, I get elevated. I feel great because on the left hand side, this is how I started at Saguna Bagh 45 years ago. This is my father and my niece, of course, with our family dog. And Saguna Bagh looked like this 45 years ago. And after persistent efforts, this is how Saguna Bagh looks like today. The left-hand side picture, the old picture was taken by old camera, single lens reflex, whereas this picture is taken by drone. And the modern picture, this a remarkable difference, a difference which is appreciated by thousands and thousands of people. We produce tons and tons of fish, fruit, grain, pulses, and so on. But most importantly, we generate information, knowledge, which is shared with the farmers. And thousands of farmers are getting benefited. Their life is getting changed. And this was the whole objective of my father. Next slide. So this is where I wanted to come to. Our Saguna regenerative technique, SRT. When I say regenerative technique, usually when by conventional method, when the agriculture, food production is performed, the soil loses its strength. Soil loses something. Soil loses nutrients, but the most importantly, soil loses organic carbon. So that is a big loss. And to replenish that organic carbon, we need to have that there had to happen soil the carbon sequestration should take place. So when we do it by plowing method, tillage operations, it's a degenerative method. In degenerative method, it is removing of carbon in the form of CO2 and removing of water vapor in the form of water vapor. Whereas in a regenerative method, which is no-till, the carbon is fixed, carbon sequestration, and also the atmospheric moisture is also fixed into the soil. So regenerates the soil becomes happy and healthy, and the environment also becomes happy. When that happens, the productivity of the land increases. And when productivity of the land increases, the crops look resilient. The farmer and the farmer's family and the whole surrounding becomes happy. So what we need is a regenerative agriculture, and we got to stop as early as possible. It's already late. We got to stop degeneration of our soil, that is degenerative agriculture, because degenerative agriculture makes our earth more vulnerable for complete death. You probably have heard a great scientist from, he's original to Bharat, but now resides in America. His name is Professor Ratan Lal. Professor Ratan Lal, a distinguished professor. He is known for his sustainable soil management, for global security and mitigation of climate change, exactly opposite to the vulnerability and going towards security of security of this thing, security of our planet. So Professor Ratan Lal explains the concept of one earth. One earth means the health of our soil, our planet, the health of the microscopic, macroscopic, and mesophilic biodiversity on the land, and the human being. All health of all these three is one. If everybody's health is maintained properly, this planet will remain healthy. If one of that becomes unhealthy, the whole planet will become unhealthy, and which exactly what we are talking about today, that is vulnerability of this planet. We got to protect it and make it sure that it is secure. It is security is offered to our planet. So one health is a concept that is explained by Professor Ratan Lal, and we had an opportunity to talk with Professor Ratan Lal for more than 1 hour, and he was very happy about the technique SRT. We will go to the next slide, please. So SRT, our technique, these are the steps. So what is SRT? SRT means we don't plow the land. That is first important philosophy or the principle. We don't plow the land again and again, which is otherwise practiced by the traditional or conventional method of agriculture. Ours is a no-till. Our second principle is we keep the roots of the previous crop and the roots of the weeds, we leave it in situ to die and decay. Third, if we don't plow the land, how do we manage the weeds? We use the weedicides. You know, many people criticize chemicals. Oh my God, but that's not true. Chemicals are not that bad. I will explain it to you that later, but let me tell you that right now also, that chemicals in proper dose, with proper method and proper timing, is absolutely no problem. For example, we eat common salt every day, which is a terrible, terrible chemical, inorganic chemical. That's not organic. It's inorganic chemical, terrible. It's a poison. But we consume that every day, at least 2 times, if not 3 times. But in dose, time, and method, that is where we don't have problem with that chemical. So we plow the land only once, we make permanent raised beds. In picture number 2, we use a simple tool, which is, we call it SRT frame. It's made from iron. It's an iron frame. So with this SRT frame, we make holes, 20 holes at one go. And then afterwards, in third picture, 2 persons, they put the seed into the hole. And the fourth slide, we use pre-emergence selective weedicide. So only that crop is allowed to grow selectively, and all other weeds, unwanted plants, are suppressed. Fertilizer doses normally are recommended 2 to 3 times, sometimes 4 times also. But in our method, we give fertilizer only once. So we save fertilizer also. And the crop looks wonderful. It's very resilient and great. At half the cost of production, we get double the productivity. So this is something very good. In SRT, farmers are becoming very happy because of these obvious reasons. So we will go to next slide. So you will ask that how are we going to be doing this impacting of frame and putting the seed? But no, we have been, after finding out the right machine, we found it. Last year, we found this machine. Now, this is called hand push seeder. If we can see some video, please. Yeah, that's wonderful. Yeah, so this machine can make holes and put the seed and fertilizer at the same time. So 3 operations are done by this machine at one go. And this has improved the, see, in a conventional method, we used to need 32 man days, 32 men for first 50 days. With our previous SRT technique, the original SRT technique with frame, we reduced it to 8 men. And with this machine, we have reduced it to 3 men for first 50 days. And I will show you the next slide. Next slide, please. So this is a new machine which we found a friend from Navy, DRDO, Defense Research Organization. This person was sent by God, and he helped us design and develop a machine called Zebu. So Zebu, this we call it SRT Zebu. So this Zebu machine, this is battery operated and has reduced the man labor requirement of the farmer from originally 32 to 8 to 3, and now only 1. That one person can do 4 times work. The work also is done by 4 times. And not only seed sowing, but this same machine can be attached with different gadgets, and it will do spraying, it will do mulching, it will do harvesting, it will do many things. So this is wonderful thing, this machine that has come. It's a God-sent gift, and this will completely revolutionize agriculture of future. So this was our ultimate aim. Yeah, is it possible to play video? Yeah, okay. So this is wonderful machine, very powerful. It looks very tiny, but pretty powerful machine, and is able to do wonderful job. Okay, we can go to next slide. So this is a plot, this is the first plot sown by this machine for the first time in the whole world. And you know, this picture is going to be very historical. This is why I'm trying to tell you now. I cannot explain you why this is so important historically, but I'm sure to many of you, your eyes, this is a soothing picture. This is very uniform crop. So uniform sowing by the machine, and the machine has sown it at the right depth and the right distance, because of which the crop looks very good. And when crop looks very good, I know it for sure, I can vouch for it, that it is going to be beautifully, it is going to be producing wonderfully. The farmer, every farmer who sees this, every farmer who will avail this technology is going to be very, very happy. So this next slide. As I told you, this SRT originally was called as Saguna rice technique because it came up, it was evolved for rice crop. Because we come from a rice belt, in rainy season, we cannot grow any other crop but rice. So, and rice is a crop which creates problems in the whole world big time. One, because it generates methane, greenhouse gas, and second, it gulps a lot of water. And both these problems are effectively solved by this technology. But now this technology is not used only for rice, it is used for almost 15 to 20 different crops across 8 agroclimatic zones of Maharashtra by more than 7,000 farmers. And everybody is saying that they have become happy. Now this particular crop is groundnut crop. Next picture. This is of course bhindi, vegetables. So vegetables can be cultivated. Next. Cotton farmers, to our surprise, they are becoming so happy. The most suicides are in the cotton belt, and now farmers are saying they never have to think wrong things such as suicides with this technique. And now when the zebu will come for their help, complete vulnerability will be gone. It will become only security and the happiness and the peace. What do we want? So this is happening. And this, as I told you earlier, there are many issues which can be researched and validated. We are saying that farmers are becoming happy. What percentage? 100%. 100% farmers, when they accept this technique, become happy. Don't you think that this is a wonderful subject for doing studies, further studies for PhD, for emotionally wounded farmers? You know, so these are the things that should be studied. And the productivity, cotton, for example, they were getting 4, 5, 6 quintals of cotton, quintal, that is 100 kilo, 4 to 6 quintals of cotton per acre. With this technique, they are now getting between 12 to 18 quintals of cotton per acre. Amazing, amazing. So many amazing things is happening. So this is cotton. Next slide. Again, this is the same cotton. Next. This technique is used for soybean, maize, vegetable, onion, groundnut, so many other crops. But this is another wonderful impact which I would like to bring it to your notice. The change of soil, the changing health of the soil. If that motherly earth is going to provide us food, that mother should be healthy. And because of our technique, traditional and conventional technique, which involves tillage, tillage is our biggest enemy. So if we stop tillage and start adopting regenerative practices, the soil goes from dirt to soil. Soil, I mean healthy soil. Actually, there is a book by Gabe Brown, Dirt to Soil. It's a wonderful book if anyone is keen about going into deeper aspects of regenerative agriculture. So I'm showing you from top left. It's a traditionally plowed soil which belongs to our neighbor. We wanted to help that neighbor, but now he's not interested in working with us. He's afraid, he's scared, I don't know what for, but he's still maintaining his traditional method, and this is what he has. But after 3 years, the soil color changes, the texture changes. 6 years, 8 years, and 10 years. 10-year soil is beautiful. If you take it in your hand and close the eyes, you cannot say that it is this material is heavy like soil. It is light like manure, compost. That soil aggregation and the fragrance is so beautiful. It's like the first rain. So soil health has improved, and this is one of the most important impact of SRT. Next slide, please. So I told you, who would say earthworms are bad for soil? No one, especially farmers. Every farmer is so happy when he sees earthworms in his soil. SRT, whether it is in red soil, black soil, semi-black, cotton, whatever type of soil, whatever crop, especially rice. In rice field, no one in the world was able to show earthworms in the paddy field. But SRT farmer, each and every one of them, thousands and thousands of them, they say, we got earthworms. We are very happy because we got earthworms. So earthworms, and to tell you a few scientific aspects, earthworms go back and forth, up and down, several times in the year. And they create pathways, they create burrows through which the oxygen reaches at the bottom layers of the soil. And oxygen is poison to the microorganisms, to the bacteria, which generate methane, the greenhouse gas. So these, if you see earthworms, you can blindly say, close your eyes and say that there cannot be methane generation or greenhouse gas generation from this paddy field. So this is happening in SRT, one of the most important impact, which takes the rice cultivation away from vulnerability and towards security. How many people in the world eat rice? 60–70% people eat rice as their staple food. And people from developed world, they say, because you produce, you Asians, you Indians, you produce, you eat rice, that's why there is global warming. So rice is threat to the world. Stop producing rice, stop eating rice. But their argument was right, because they were worried about the vulnerability of the earth, vulnerability of the environment. But SRT has checked out this problem. No more of greenhouse gas emission, because there is earthworms, presence of earthworms by every farmer, every rice farmer, every type of soil, every type of agroclimatic zone. We have shown it. But these are all our empirical observations. And these observations, big bosses are not ready to accept. They need certification from PhDs and postgraduates. If you can come forward and work with us, let's be friends and work for the farmers, for our sustainable future and security of our planet. So this is I'm trying to tell you again and again, because through this lecture, I would like to see some motivation of students, if there are. So next slide, please. Yeah, I told you, happy and confident farmers. It's been proved only by SRT method in the whole world. I'm telling you this for sure, because I've said this last April. I said that in America. In May, I said that in Thailand. It was again a conference of multiple countries, and I'm going to say that same. And I'm invited to say this in November, which Professor Michel told you about in my introduction. I will be going to Michigan State University to tell them about this, that it is possible that farmer, whether is young man or young girl, educated or elderly woman, everyone becomes happy and confident. That's because we farmers, we have never seen a resilient crop like this. We have never seen such a great productivity at low cost of production. I don't know how many of you are rice farmers, paddy farmers, but rice today, the biggest worry is by two insects, two pests. One is paddy stem borer, and second is brown paddy, brown paddy hopper. So these are terrible pests. But because we have started using SRT in our farm at Saguna Bagh for last 6 years, we have forgotten that insecticide is required to grow paddy. We don't call ourselves organic. We don't consider organic word to be truthful. It's not a method of agriculture or growing food, agronomy. It is a method of marketing, according to a scientist in America. So, farmer becomes happy because the crop becomes happy, the land becomes happy. When there is healthy soil, the crop is healthy, and the crop is when crop is healthy, that food is healthy, the consumer becomes healthy. So we say healthy soil for healthy food and healthy environment. So SRT's mission is that we will give confidence, we will provide guarantee of security, going away from vulnerability of the planet. Next slide, please. I told you we have carried out a little bit of experimental work. We don't consider ourselves, we're not really scientists. We don't have a lab, or I don't have an office. Nobody gives me salary. But there are nice people like Professor Michelle Philip. They invite me for lecture, and they, she let me be professor at least once in a while. Thank you very much once again. But this happiness index was done pretty crudely. We checked 160 farmers by asking them 20 questions by going to meeting them in person. And this is what we found out on 0 to 10 scale. The basic happiness of the farmer was 8 point something 58 or something like that. Then social image, environmental balance, economic growth, physical stress relief, mental stress relief, workplace comfort, everything was more than 8 on 0 to 10 scale. But these are the aspects which need to be restudied, revisited. They need to be done more professionally, more accurately, and we are willing to work with you. We have lots of contacts, connection. We have created many experiments. It's only work need to be done to go there, visit, revisit. So next slide. This video, please play the video. Just a second. Yeah. I hope there is no problem playing video. Can somebody answer me?
Yeah, there is no problem playing the video.
Oh, thank you.
The video will play completely.
Okay, thank you, Keith. Yeah. Okay. So in this video, there is some voice also that you need to make sure that the voice is a little bit less. So in this video, what I show here, that once a farmer accepts no-till SRT method, there is a big change in the physical properties of the soil, and those are beneficial changes. And those changes are affected because of biological movements that take place because of SRT method. So let's play the video and
Okay.
I hope you were able to hear the sound from the video.
Sir, it was very faint, but we could hear.
Okay, all right. Chalo, theek hai. Let's go.
Other participants, do you want to say anything? Were you able, was it audible? So we can go ahead, sir, unless
Yeah.
you want to take a short break.
No. Let's
Carry on.
finish
Okay.
this. Let's
Okay.
It
finish
was
this.
not, ma'am.
Sorry,
Pardon?
Mola.
Much, ma'am.
Ma'am, actually, it wasn't really.
Audible. Chandrasekhar sir, can we share these videos after the session so they can watch it?
Yes. It's
All right.
actually it's there on the website, on our
Okay.
website. So
Okay.
you can
Okay.
share. Please share our web address.
Yes,
Where participants, if they're interested, or they
can
can
go and watch.
they
Sure, sir.
can connect with me through you.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
please.
Sure, sir. Sure.
Okay. So let's go to the next slide. We'll finish this SRT, and yeah. So this is still SRT where because of those effects which we saw, the physical properties of the soil change, and when they change, the water infiltration and recharging of aquifer is so effective that even in the low rainfall area, the wells are becoming full and sometimes they're getting overflowed. Other than getting a better crop, better yield, low cost of production, less dependence on labor, tractor, and optimum rain. So these are climate resilience and so on. There are many advantages of SRT. One of the biggest advantage is this. Next. So this is another very important thing. We all talk about biodiversity, and many a times we mean biodiversity is the butterflies, birds, and reptiles. But we consider the most important biodiversity, which is microscopic in the soil, and that also is increasing. We have not been able to check it. It's very expensive, and it needs a very special kind of setup to do that, which some of you may be having. But in 365 days, we appointed 3 zoology postgraduate students, and they came every other day. They visited, and they have seen, they have observed, they have taken pictures, and wrote 1-page, 2-page information about each one of these specimen. So 57 different species of spiders, 70 species of butterflies, 120 species of birds, and many reptiles and amphibians. So these are the things which is amazing growth at our farm Saguna Bagh. Earlier, when I came from America, that was 76. All I could see was maybe 10 to 12 different types of birds, which included sparrow and crow. But now we've got beautiful collection. Every year there is addition of visiting birds. So let's go to the next slide. Through SRT, we are able to address this one very important issue in North India, where burning of paddy stubble is causing serious problem. I mean, serious problem to the air pollution, and people from capital city complaining about it, that the farmers are burning stubble, so we got bad pollution. But that's not it. That's nothing as compared to what tremendous loss that goes to the farmers in the microscopic biodiversity, killing their microflora in the soil. That is terrible. They kill the microflora, and they burn away the food for microflora. So this is causing chain of problems. And Punjab and Haryana they have reached the brink of the vulnerability. You might have heard that Punjab has got water left over. Punjab's water main source of water is the subsoil water storage. So whatever aquifer they are left with only 8 years worth of water, because they are depleting water to the tune of 1 meter depth, 1 meter column of water in their subsoil water they are taking out each year, and they are left with only 8 meter of water. So it's a terrible situation. It can be reverted, and vulnerability can be stopped effectively by this, and the security can be returned again only by this regenerative method of farming. So this is stubble burning issue and solution. Next. This is the issue of soil erosion. Each time we do plowing and puddling for rice transplanting, we lose this much of silt. This is the turbid water from field was taken, 500 ml, half a liter. Alum was applied, kept for 3 days and decanted. 200 plus 200 clean water in the two glasses of the sides is clean water, and a half glass, which is 100 ml, which is silt, pure silt. And that is lost, that is going out each time. That is 20%. So we multiplied this experiment. Next, we multiplied this experiment 101 times. We collected 101 samples from 4 or 5 talukas, 2 districts of nearby area fields, and that was tested by turbidity test and settling test. And we found out, next slide, we found out similar results. So if we use a 2-wheel tractor, we lose 14% soil. If we use 4-wheel tractor, 15% soil is lost. But if we use bullock plow, which is wooden plow, only 3% silt is lost. But if we use SRT, no soil is lost, 0%. So this is something very big achievement, but we need to validate it properly with scientific techniques. Published, should be published in appropriate journals, which will reach the right people, the policymakers. That way, policy can be brought into place. Next. So when this happens, the rivers turn red. They carry blood from our motherly soil. Again, a typical picture of vulnerability. We are, through this river, we will reach the vulnerable earth very quickly. And the only answer is SRT. So we need to stop this. Next picture. When these rivers, they carry silt and soil, just take a look where it is going. Can you zoom the top central portion? Yeah, there. Yeah, there. Okay, very good. But so this is a water reservoir. This picture was taken from aeroplane near Pune, and the river is carrying the blood from motherly earth, and it is dumping that silt and soil into the water reservoir. So it is creating problem at the farmer's field, to the environment, and to the water body at the same time. That this water body is getting silted. That means the space which should be used for storing water, it is storing the soil coming from hills and fields of the farmers. Next. So this is typically where we try to tell all intellectual community that we are actually needing to find out what is myth versus facts, the scientific facts. Many people say that it's the farmers farmers use chemicals and fertilizer and they're ruining the soil and they're giving us food with poison. But that's wrong. It's not the farmers, it is the tillage, it is the plowing. Plowing is our biggest enemy. Plowing is the enemy which is taking us to the brink of the vulnerability. This earth loses, our globe annually loses sufficient soil, where each year we lose so much of soil that if we keep that soil, we can make a layer of 6 inches on the whole Brazil, the country of Brazil. So that much soil we lose through erosion each year. And so tillage is our biggest enemy. It's not the chemicals and fertilizers. Actually, by adopting SRT, no-till method of farming, slowly we have got several farmers now, after 6, 7 years, 8 years, they have stopped using fertilizers also. It's not the need, it's not our choice, it's not the choice of farmers. We don't enjoy taking out money, cash from our pocket and taking trouble to bring that fertilizer and throw it into our fields. That's not our choice. But there is no choice. There was no choice until SRT was formulated. Now with SRT, we don't have to worry about even fertilizers and very, very few chemicals, where we can go to almost zero chemicals and zero fertilizers. So these are next slide, please. Myth versus facts, and this is the biggest change. The soil becomes so healthy. Otherwise, if we keep plowing, the soil is nothing but dirt. If we want that dirt to become healthy soil, we must go from degenerative method to regenerative method of farming. And regenerative method of farming is easy for farmers. The farmer becomes happy. The cost of production is reduced, and so on. So anyway, I think this first section must have come to an end. Next slide, let's see. Okay, so this is Panchamrit of SRT. Happy farmers is one of the impact. Carbon sequestration, fixing of atmospheric carbon into the soil, and lesser GHG emission. This is Sustainable Development Goal number 13. SDG number 3, good health and well-being. Healthy soil, when there is healthy soil, healthy food and healthy environment. So this is goal number 3. Goal number 15, life on land. Tremendous amount of biodiversity, microscopic, macroscopic and mesophilic. I showed you the slide. So this is also impacted. And the goal number 6, clean water and sanitation. Because of appropriate water infiltration and aquifer recharging, we get we also save a lot of water, and the water improvement, the quality of water is improved, enhanced. So this is where our SRT is. I will stop for a short break, I guess. Let's, Professor.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm here. Yeah, I think we can take a short 5-minute recess. So people can use the washroom and other things.
All right. Good.
Yeah. So we can just put off our videos as well. So you can put off your video if you want.
Yeah.
Yes. So we'll be back at 8:20. Don't forget, today is a 2-hour session, and tomorrow there will be no session in view of today's extended session. Yes. Thank you. All right, we're back. I can see that several participants have left. I know it's perhaps because it's an extended session, but I would urge you to stay on till the end. We'll uh, Mr. Bhadsavle said that he would be willing to take questions now if anybody would like to ask questions about the SRT or Saguna regenerative technique. I think he's explained it very in great detail. And our batch of students, we were 60 of us that visited the farm about 2 weeks ago. And we have taken a tour of the farm, and we've actually seen the kind of work that is happening there. And as well as our students climbed the hill where the, the techniques that are being implemented to prevent forest fires and landslides. And I think in today's scenario, with landslides happening all over the country, there is more than, a great need for us to implement some of these techniques. And I'm sure that at some point, so one of the questions is, when you have brought in these methods that make cultivation so much easier, why is it that governments are hesitant to adopt them and to adopt them in a big way? If you can answer that while the others are thinking of their question.
Okay, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that actually question bothered me also,
Yes.
because we were thinking that it's such a easy and so effective technique. It should have had spread like wildfire, but apparently it has not. Then I found out that there is a curve of learning, 15%, 70%, and 15%. So 15% is difficult. Early adopters usually are difficult. And when agriculture is a culture of thousands of years, to break that culture, to change the mindset of farmers, to make them come out of their tremendous, emotionally wounded situation, to come out of it and try for something new is very difficult. So that is one of the reasons why. And then we don't know why agricultural universities are not coming forward to take it up. One of the reason people say that it's because it is it's our technique, and that the name will remain SRT. It will not be name of the common name of government or scientist or the university. So maybe there is a problem, and so people are not, scientific community is not coming forward. That's why we are hoping that scientific community from pure science will come forward, and they will show interest, and they will do the scientific validation of these techniques, and then it will change. So, and then there are many stories like this. The Wright brothers who flew the aeroplane. They flew the aeroplane, and still people were not, they said, no, that's not possible. So they were putting money on somebody with a big title and big office. So this is what probably is the trend of the world. So let's see. But after 12 years, if it's a Wilson College and such a big platform, important STEAM platform, where I get to share my views, it's a big change that has taken place. Thank you.
So one of the reasons why we invited you to share your experiments and the techniques is because we have on this forum teachers who they are faculty members of colleges and universities across India. So we were hoping that by introducing them to you and encouraging them to bring in their students to Saguna Bagh, wherever they are in India, and that they would be able to see firsthand what is happening at ground zero, because it's so important for us to understand that. And one of the things that I had brought out, I remember in the podcast, was the fact that every year there are young people who are leaving the farming profession. And that means that many less people are in cultivation. So there'll come a point where there will be no, I mean, there'll be very few people actually cultivating, and it'll be large corporations that are taking over these, this role. So,
Yeah,
what is your view of that? The
yeah,
large corporations taking over from the smaller farmers.
yeah. I want to certainly give opinion on both those observations. One observation is confirmed observation, scientifically confirmed by uh, uh, big scientific communities, that farmer is getting old. Average age of farmer in the world globe is 60. When all of you retire and go to do things of your choice, but farmer starts at 60. Average age of Thai farmer is 64. Japanese farmer is 70. Uh, this Indian farmer is 52, 50 something. But SRT farmer is 30, 32. So SRT is changing that scenario. And second is, you raised a question about what about corporate sector taking over the food production. Uh, Many of you probably know Professor Nitin Noria. He was the first brown color skin person becoming dean of Harvard Business School. Professor Nitin Noria uh, loudly said that corporate farming is failing. It's only small scale and medium scale farmers who will feed the world. So, and then if you want to consider the Indian scenario, 84% farmers of India are smallholder farmers. And so FAO, Food and Agricultural Organization of United Nations, they have special efforts for smallholder farmers. And they have a setup called TECA. In their TECA official website, they have accepted SRT as a technique to be spread all over the world. So there is positive change, but the change is very slow.
So there's a comment from Ria Biswas. He says, first of all, sir, I'm really happy to be present in such an important session like this. Your work in this sector is extremely inspiring. Sir, my question is, how can we popularize this technique to every corner of India and then internationally too? What do you think of this?
Looks like the technique might catch up faster internationally, and our agricultural scientists will have to go outside. They will have to go to Israel and America and Japan to study SRT. Keep the jokes apart, but how to spread it fast? This first comment by Professor Ria, I can see the name here, Ria Biswas. This is perfect. This is perfect situation. If you have developed the confidence in this technique, first start interacting more frequently with our group. Then we can start a small demonstration plot, either at your own home. Somebody at your home must be a farmer, so we can start there, your hometown, wherever, whatever crop, wherever you are in India. And especially you were mentioning that that there are teachers from all over the India. I must bring it to your notice one more thing, a very critical thing of this vulnerability. The Shivalik Hills, the northeastern ranges of India, lose 100 million tons of soil each year through soil erosion from agriculture and non-agriculture. We got to stop it. We got to slow it down. That's a tremendous loss That's a tremendous speed of we going to vulnerability of this planet. So we got to slow it down and stop. Anybody, this is the first step. Get connected with us. Get connected. We send out regular newsletters. We can have regular web meetings. We do have regular web meetings with our farming community. We have also started a chat bot where a farmer can, it's in Marathi language at the moment, but very soon we will make it into English and Hindi also. It is now made for 6 crops, but we are multiplying the crops also. So a farmer round the clock, anytime, he can just say, hello, namaste, or SRT on a particular number. Please, I will give you that number, and please share that number with everybody so they can connect with the chatbot. And so we are making all our efforts. We are short of tremendous amount of financial. We got initially good financial support from industrial CSR, but since COVID, we are zero on getting finance from the community. So there are many aspects through which we can reach the farmers, but start small and keep big objectives. The objective you have already explained, but make a small beginning. That's what I would suggest.
So thank you. We have half an hour left, although we have a comment in this section. If we can go back and to the talk, because we'd like to hear more about your other techniques.
Wonderful.
We have half an hour more, sir. Then we'll
Sure.
take the remaining questions. Thank you.
Good. Okay. So this, I'm going to explain now our second technique, actually third technique. I have already shown you, talked about SRT, ART, that is agro-rural tourism, through which able youth gets confidence and happiness, and able youth is attracted to rural India. One of the issue Professor Mishra just raised. So that is happening a big change. Agro-rural tourism is now spread all over India, all the way from Himachal Pradesh to this southmost island of our country, Lakshadweep and those islands. So it is spreading, it has spread very fast. Our second technique is SRT, which we just talked. And now I will be talking about SVT, Saguna Vanasavardhan technique. Our all forest lands and unoccupied lands and the fallow lands, they're all getting burnt. Them getting burnt is, again, we are going to vulnerability. We're causing huge damage. Now this area, in this picture, you are seeing an area of about, I would say about 300 acres. That includes one hill number 2 of Neral, which I'm going to, I showed you earlier, but I'm going to be showing you again and again. This is a Google picture of 2015. Next is 2017. Same story. All 300 acres burned, became black. Next picture, 18, same story. But in 18, we could get permission from Forest Department to work on that particular hill, which was about 300 acres. One side of that hill that is northern side is government forest land, and southern side is private land. Next slide. So this is what in June 2018 we got a permission, and after we wonderfully treated that thing, the real terrible people who are hardly 1 or 2% people in the community, they want to just burn away a hill, the forest land and all that for few reasons, such as stealing wood, doing some hunting, making hunting easy, or just for the sake of fun. So with one matchstick, that person can burn the whole area. But this year, because we had treated that hill, that whole hill could not be burned. And looking at our Lakshman Rekha, I don't know if you are able to see the cursor. So this is the Lakshman Rekha. This is, yeah, this is 2 kilometer long line, which the fire could not cross it. This fire, when it was lit, I was present there. It was a dry winter month of, I think it was January and February. It was February, and the wind was, it was 12 o'clock in the afternoon, a very bright sun and dry weather. Wind started blowing as soon as the fire started spreading. So, but it did not catch. All those flames, 8 feet, 10 feet tall flames, they subsided like a magic. And it was such a wonderful experience. So next slide. So this is 2019. Same picture, same situation, taken through drone. A more clearer picture next. So we have been doing this for last 6 years, the same picture, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and 24. 6 years, you can see this same image, same pattern, where we did not let the fire cross, and we prevented every square meter land in 150 acres, whereas the private land, 150 acres, not one single square meter was saved from burning. So you can see this next picture. Yeah, look at this. Yeah, go ahead. In the rainy season, it is such a beautiful sight. But next video, this is what happens as soon as the rainy season is over. The grass is dry, dead and dry. It becomes very dangerous for the workers also, who are trying to just see this fire was about to gulp them, all the workers. So they ran for their life as the fire came on their body. Next. This video is explaining the burnt area and not burnt area. It is in Marathi. Even if there is sound, yeah, play. You can see the visuals. Burnt area and not burnt area. My associate, a very intelligent tribal youth, who is one of the main brain, he's showing you that what is left now is only pebbles. It's only pebbles, nothing else, no soil. You can see, and after repetitive incidences, even these pebbles will wash away. So this is what is happening only because of the fire. And only 2 feet away from that burnt area, this unburnt area, you can see the land is covered with earlier year grass, and which has now supported the life for the next year, this coming season. And absolutely not a single pebble. And not only that, there are no pebbles, there is built up of the beautiful organically rich soil. So this organic carbon has improved, water infiltration, all aspects have improved. So let's go to the next slide. So burning of hills and forest lands because of fire is a triggering factor for landslides. We have confirmed it, we have seen it, and we have got it. This is the technique which is likely to, you can see this, the road and the Matheran railway track is washed away. Next. big loss. There were 22 landslides in 2021 in the hill of Matheran. And it caused a big loss, financial loss for repair work, and loss of working hours. Next slide. This is a terrible news which came last year, that landslide in Matheran hill area range, where Irshalwadi was buried. 100 plus people were buried live by this landslide. Nobody could help them. Nothing has happened as yet in that area. So this is terrible situation. These landslides is one of the effect of, and this particular hill, we checked it from Google for last 20-25 years, it was getting burnt. Next. So we have found out bioengineering remedification for this problem. There are few plants which are ethnic to our land, our area, our country, and they are wonderful. They are very good. This is perennial grass called vetiver. Vetiver grass has got amazing root system. It goes vertically and has got tremendous anchoring ability. So vetiver root system is something very good, which is we are doing good work about vetiver grass. Next, we are planting that vetiver grass by on contours. So instead of contour bunding with stones and soil and pebbles, we are adopting this live contour bunding. We have termed it LCB, live contour bunding, and vetiver grass is a great solution for this problem. And when we do this contour bunding, live contour bunding, there is a fringe benefit. There is another effect of slowing, next slide, slowing down the water flow, and water infiltration has improved. So on the same hill at 850 feet above, there are 3 water holes of this size where we can show you water throughout the year. From this rainy season to next rainy season, so much of water remains all the time. So the reptiles, the rodents and all that, all insects and so on, this much of water is sufficient for their survival and maintaining the biodiversity. Next slide. So our technique, Saguna Vanasavardhan SVT technique, this is our model, where we make a grid of anti-fire. That means we are working right now when there is no thought of fire on that hill. So what we are doing, we are using systemic, non-systemic, systemic non-selective weedicide to spray and make this grid. And when we make this grid, the culprits, when they light the fire at one place, the fire doesn't spread. It is restricted by this our grid, the belts that we make, anti-fire belts. So next slide. So this is how the hill looks like when we actually perform the work. Next. Yeah, so this is basically how the hill looks. This is a picture taken by drone, and you can see this more clearer situation. Next. Whereas the burnt area, you can see there are hardly any trees and bushes, whereas the area which we did not burn for last 6 years, it has covered naturally by lots of bushes and trees. Next. Now this is the 4th technique, SJT, Saguna Vanasamvardhan technique. You can see this in the left lower corner, the sewage from the city is let loose into the river, and that is causing pollution fertility of the soil. If the fertility is increased, the higher temperature in the sunlight, naturally this floating weed gets a very high chance of its growth. So we have developed this technique where again we use non-systemic, non-selective weedicide. There is a technique how we can stop it. It's completely safe. We have carried out a lot of tests of the water, and there are no remnants of weedicide immediately 1 hour after the spraying. Actually, theoretically, there cannot be. It immediately gets disintegrated. Next. So this river Ullas, we developed a technique, and this is a big, huge water reservoir, huge, maybe second or third large water body in Maharashtra, which is all infected by this water weed. It is also called as killer weed because it kills the water body. Next. So this is vulnerability, typical situation. Today, the fish, the biodiversity, everything is getting killed. Soon it will gulp away human community also. So it's the right time. It's high time that we think about vulnerability of our planet. Water bodies is one of the situation. Next slide. This is the weed which was brought by Britishers for its beautiful flowers from Amazon in 1920. But soon it spread in Bengal, and they tried to eradicate it, but they failed miserably. Now in Bengal, it is called as terror of Bengal. So a plant, a floating plant, a beautiful floating plant can terrorize Bengalis. It's a very interesting combination. Next. So this water, Jalaparni, it's called in Marathi, water, floating weed. It's very bad. It's very highly problematic and invasive water weed. Killer weed, it is called. It blocks the sunlight and air contact to the water, which is natural cleansing process of the water body. And then eventually it kills that water body. So it's heaven for breeding of mosquitoes and diseases. Next. This is botany of that plant. Next. But this is a classic example. This was the first work that we carried out. It's called Salim Ali Lake in Chhatrapati Sambhajinagar, that used to be called as Aurangabad earlier. On May 28th May 19, we started work, and on 4th June 19, the lake started looking like this. Next. We went and checked the lake in 21. It's same clean. Next. August, this year is what? August 2023. Is this 2023 August? I cannot
21, sir. 15th August 21.
21. Okay, next. I cannot see that year.
That's 23rd February 2022.
2022. And next one. Okay, so even today, the lake is as clean as that. This is the river picture. On February 21, the river was like this. January 22, the river was like this. So this technique is also very effective and very sustainable. It's got lots of advantages. There is no worry of chemicals because it's the dose, timing, and method. So not to worry about it. We are ready to work with any one of the organization. There is, in fact, Powai Lake in Mumbai is a big issue, and we need to work at that. We need to work with the Powai Lake. So next slide. So this is a technique. We tried many other techniques, but it is impossible to enter into this thick mat of weed. So finally, we restored to use drone technology, and that is working absolutely fantastic. And we have already undertaken at least a dozen projects in Maharashtra and they have been very successful. So any one of those who is interested, we can get into the deeper aspects of this particular technology. Next slide. So this is what happens. The river, when we removed it within 2 months or so, the river was clean. The birds which were dependent on cleaner water body, undisturbed, they started coming. Next, many birds, you can see lots of birds. Next, so fishermen, otherwise they could not, their fishing this thing activity had completely ceased, but after removal of that water weed, they started this is absolutely working out pretty well. So the next picture. Again, yeah, fishing community. Next, fishing community was very happy as they were able to come back to the river and catch the fish. For earlier 6-7 years, their fish harvesting was completely ceased. Next. Yeah, let's see this spot-billed ducks. They were so happy. Actually, we followed them with a drone, and you can see the bottom of the river. Yeah, so fly away to the security from vulnerability. Yeah, I wonder if the if we still have some slides.
No, I think this is the end.
Okay, yeah, so fly away to the security from vulnerability. We have got these 4 techniques. We are ready to work with you all, intellectual community, and I saw some comments they were coming, but you know, I'm not good at with this intellectual machines. So whatever the comments are, I'm ready to take through emails,
Yes, sir.
WhatsApp.
I'm here, sir.
Yeah,
Yes,
please.
thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir. It's so heartening to see the kind of work that you and your team are doing, in spite of all the hurdles that you're facing, but you're plowing on because you've realized that there is such an urgent need for something like this. So we have a comment from Aishani Roy. Sir, just a curious question. Do
Okay.
GMOs have any role in reducing agricultural vulnerability? Or do they add to the vicious cycle of poverty in the long run?
In my opinion, with whatever knowledge that I have, GMOs have very good, positive, important role to solve the problem of vulnerability and going towards sustainability and security. Because just to give you one small example, whatever GMO variety of cotton that we have accepted, it's not the most ultimate. It's one of the very early type of GMO variety of cotton. Earlier, the farmers used to make 25 to 30 sprays of poisonous insecticide with older varieties. With GMO variety, I don't know their names and all that, but with the existing, because we work with the farmers, these are the stories we keep hearing. With the current status, they have to spray only 7 to 8 sprays of insecticide. From 30 to 8 or 10 is a big change. And with that, now with the SRT method, they have to go even lesser, which is 5 sprays of insecticide. And slowly after 7-8 years, that becomes 0. So combination of GMO and no-till technique, a regenerative method of farming, absolutely the world will be much more happier, sustainable, and going away from vulnerable path to a sustainable and secure path.
So Aishani has a further question. It says, can SRT method be helpful in drought-prone areas of Purulia in West Bengal?
It is already helping. Actually, in Maharashtra, there is a scheme by World Bank called POCRA, Project on Climate Resilient Agriculture. So for POCRA project, SRT is accepted, and all their officials, class 1, class 2 officials, were trained at Saguna Bagh by our team. And this technique was taken to those 16 drought-prone areas. And big change has happened, because there, those people do not have any other activity but farming. That's their only sole survival and livelihood tool. And they were losing complete confidence, and that's why there are maximum number of suicides. But after SRT acceptance, complete scenario has changed. Complete big change has taken place. So drought prone area and excess water. So climate change. This SRT method is a most resilient variety. And West Bengal's, the movement has already started on a very small scale. I will be very happy to work with this professor.
So we have some more questions and comments, but I would like you to take a question from Prachi Tombare, who's got her hand up. Prachi, can you please unmute yourself and speak?
Yes, hello. Thank you for this very enlightening conversation. So my concern would be, because I'm also a part of the farming community. My grandfather is a farmer, and one of the big challenges that they are facing is that when we talk about like a 8-year or a 10-year, outlook, they don't have that kind of privilege, because for them survival is from one season to the next or 1 year to the next. So convincing them to take on radical approaches is very difficult, because for them, within 1 year, if you don't have any results, if you are putting all your livelihood on the line, it's a question of life and death. So how do you confront this issue? Thank you.
I'm glad this professor asked this question. And for you, Professor Michelle, this is Prachi Thombre. She's Maharashtrian. Thombre. So nice.
Thank you, sir, for always correcting my pronunciation. God bless you.
I like that beautiful pronunciation. Anyway, but good. Prachi Madam raised this wonderful question. Prachi Madam, one of the beauty of this technique is right from first instance, first attempt by farmer, his and her cost of production reduces to some extent, but the productivity certainly increases. But the real benefit starts after 3 to 4 years. But that the farmer doesn't have to be worried about. So, for example, if Prachi Thombre and her ancestors are from, say, Satara, and there they are growing groundnut, for example. The groundnut yield of dry pods in that area, by traditional method, it is, say, about 1,000 kilo per acre. As soon as the farmer adopts SRT, the production goes from 1,000 kilo to 1,500 kilo in the first attempt itself. And not just by one farmer or a good farmer like Thomre. It can be many Patils and all other also. If not 15 kilo, they will get 14 and a half quintal. So something like this, something amazing, unbelievable increase in the yield and decrease in the cost of production. And climate resilience. Climate resilience also is a very important issue. So these are all the aspects which are already affecting. So not to worry, your concern is very correct, but the Almighty is even great, and that Almighty has blessed this with us with this technique. So we are ready to provide you with this technique, your family. Get connected.
Yes, sir. There's also a comment from Sumanna who says, I'm really interested in learning more about SRT technique. I belong to a paddy growing family, and with every passing year, the quality and quantity decreasing. So
Yeah.
it would be very helpful if you could suggest how to use the technique. So
Absolutely.
we'll be sharing your website and the number that you gave us. Also, we had shared a link to Saguna Bagh, so they can go and look at that and watch some of your videos over there. So
Okay.
I think it would be helpful, definitely. Also, if the participants could carry forward and, let your students know, let other people know about this. If you are skeptical, do pay a visit, I would say, to Saguna Bagh. And, sir, if you have any concluding comments.
Well, it's we are already walking in negative time zone, so we're already late to take care of vulnerability. Fortunately, we have at least some path to solve the problem through these efforts of our team. So let's start walking on those paths. Let's try to multiply that aspect. Let's try to make that more effective, make it validated. Whatever contribution that you can do, you can make. It's appreciated, and we let's work together.
Thank you, sir. So I'll just wind up with saying that we were really privileged to have you with us to share your experiences and your efforts and your techniques that you are using and helping other farmers too, in order to increase their yield and to restore dignity to farming and to farmers. So we are very grateful to you, sir. And I know for me, you are a friend, a brother, and I've been bringing students back to your farm almost every year or sometimes every alternate year. And it really helps when we get down to the basics and understand. Then we appreciate the food that we eat. We appreciate the efforts put in by the farming community to give us what we have. So I just want to end with a comment from Gunwant Suthar, who says, thank you very much, sir, for such a unique and eye-opening session. I think collective efforts at individual and society level, backed by governance and political will, can expedite the ways and methods that you have shared here. So literally, it is an amazing session, as Mariam Sharif has posted. Thank you so much that you gave us so much of information with images to back it up, so we know that what you have done was the work that you're doing is absolutely, amazing. Thank you so much, sir. It was a privilege having you here.
Thank you so much for inviting me and getting me to interact with all these elite people of our country. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Namaskar. Yeah.